Well, ladies and gentlemen, the day is upon us. Ahsoka, the live-action show, or as I like to consider it, Rebels Season 5, because the trailers seem to indicate that it is just another adventure for the Rebels crew to go on. And God knows that I loved Rebels as a show. And, you know, if you want to go check out my reactions to Rebels, they are up on the channel. Right from episode 1 all the way up to, the finale. It was a phenomenal show, and I'm just so glad that we are getting a seeming sequel to it. Now, this day also has one of particular significance for me, which I'll get into in just a second, but before I do that, I want to ask that you all spare a thought for me and everyone else in Europe right now who are staying up into the early hours of the morning to watch the premiere after Disney over the weekend changed the start time of the premiere. Normally we get it at 8 o'clock in the morning here in the UK, but since the change, now it's going to be a 2 a.m. start. And so it's no sleep for me tonight. And, you know, I don't want to hear none of this. Well, we had to deal with this in the US for years. Mando, Obi-Wan, Book of Boba Fett, they all came out in the early morning for us. I don't want to hear none of that, okay? I want sympathy. I want you guys to feel bad for me because I'm having to stay up now and watch the opening 2 episodes of Ahsoka. But in all seriousness, going back to why this is such a significant day, for those of you who followed the channel for a little while, you know that I've gone on a weight loss journey over the last few months. I got gastric sleeve surgery in May. And one of the things that really motivated me to get that, and one of the things that got me through the recovery process, was Ahsoka. The idea that in August, we were going to be getting this show. And by the time we got to this show, I wanted to have lost a significant amount of weight. I wanted to be fitter. I wanted to be healthier. And by that point, I was thinking I'll be through the recovery process. And that was really the date that, you know, it was the light at the end of the tunnel when I was going through the recovery. And here we are. We are August 23rd, 2023. I am now much skinnier, much healthier, much fitter. I'm through the recovery process, and now I get to watch the opening 2 episodes of Ahsoka, which I'm very excited for. I will admit that, unlike most, I am trying to temper my expectations because, you know, we've seen before, not just with Star Wars or Disney, you know, hype can be misleading. Good trailers can represent bad shows. And so I'm going into this with half a foot on the ground, you know, because I want this to be really good. I want this to be a season 5 of Rebels. At the same time, I'm realistic, and I know that, sometimes we just don't get the things we want. And this seems to be treading into some new territory. By all means, everything I've seen in the trailers looks great. I don't know much about the story. I've seen a couple of the clips with Hera and Chopper that they've released over the last couple of days. And the one thing I'll say right now is that they've got Chopper down to a T. Chopper has translated so well from animation to live action. And so if they are getting Chopper right, and, you know, obviously it's Dave Filoni, so we've got the best man in charge to translate these characters from animation to live action. So based off of that one short clip, I'm already expecting good things. But like I say, I want to keep things, you know, sort of grounded. I'm not going to go in and, believe the hype too much. But I do think this is going to be good. I'm very interested to see how Lars Mikkelsen plays as Thrawn compared to the sort of animated version. It'll be interesting to see how they tie in certain story elements. You know, it's been a long time since Ezra and Thrawn got stranded in wherever it is they are. And so what's Ezra been up to in the meantime? Who is the Inquisitor that we saw in, the trailers? We only know that his name is Merok. And that he is a former Inquisitor. I still think that he's the the 8th brother. I know that people will say that he doesn't have the same hands, he's not the same species, but we've seen before Star Wars takes some liberties when translating things over. But he could be a new character, we don't know. It'll be interesting that they seemingly are positioning Sabine to be some kind of a Force user now, which is a bit of a jump from where she was in Rebels. You know, she was always a very proficient fighter. She was very good wielding the Darksaber. But she never really demonstrated Force powers. But she's had some training apparently under Ahsoka, so it will be interesting to see, where she's up to and what happened between her and Ahsoka in the years after the war. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to be reacting to it every week, so feel free to subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. I'm going to be doing both episodes tonight. I'm going to watch this episode, go ahead and get it edited and uploaded, then jump onto the second episode. So there's probably going to be a bit of a gap between the two getting uploaded, but I am watching both of them tonight. So they should be up by the time that you folk in America wake up in the morning. But yeah, we're going to jump in. We're going to watch Ahsoka, episode number 1. Yeah. So my theory based off the trailers was that the opening would be, or at least in the first episode, Morgan would be getting broken out by Shin and Balon. It seemingly makes the most sense. It's probably what we're going to get here.
It isn't Home 1.
Home 1. I did think I saw Home 1 in the trailer.
Comms.
And of course, this guy we see getting stabbed.
Themselves and transmit their clearance code. Signal them to come aboard.
That is a mistake, my guy.
I want to meet these Jedi.
That is a mistake. That's what they're hoping that you'll do.
In the hangar.
So they're going to try a ruse first and foremost.
You put on a good show, but and you, sir, should have surrendered when the Empire.
I like that.
Chris,
He doesn't want. They don't just come on board and start killing everyone. They want to do this peacefully if they can.
show you our identification.
You're right about one thing, Captain.
We are no Jedi.
We are no Jedi.
Bang! Bang! Damn. All those fine 70s costumes just getting completely ruined. This is such an awesome shot. God damn. That's how you make an entrance. Damn. There are so many shots from the trailer just in this opening 5 minutes. I like that. I like when trailers only show us snippets at the very beginning of the show and we don't know what's going to happen throughout the rest. One thing Dave Filoni does really well is the spiritual and the mysterious aspect of the Force. He loves to add layers. That's what I loved about Rebels. It added so much to the lore of the Force.
Yang.
She's already got Hu Yang. HK droids. Oh my god, that's amazing. The little nod. As if to say, really? Oh no. Do not self-destruct. What in the hell was... What kind of explosives were they? Like, IG-11 had just a thermal detonator. They were like nuclear bombs.
Good thing I arrived when I did. That is the job of a Jedi Padawan learner. Which I am not.
He is not. That was almost like a sly dig.
The map.
Yep, that is the ghost. And there's the captain.
It took out an
Oh,
entire
it's the briefing
security detail
room.
and scuttled one of our new starships. They vanished without a trace.
The day isn't a total loss.
The New Republic is not good at keeping prisoners, you know?
If Thrawn survived, does that mean Ezra?
I was going to say, if she thought that Thrawn was dead, then she must think that Ezra was dead as well.
I hope so.
It's never a straight line with you Jedi, is it?
It's not, no. That look.
General, the Defense
That's the
Council is
Ahsoka look.
requesting an update on the incident.
You know who could help you with this?
I do.
Luke.
Well,
But I know you mean Sabine.
I'm not sure she'll want to help.
Thanks to the heroic efforts of Commander Ezra Bridger
Is that Ryder Azadi?
to liberate our world.
I mean, it's the same guy who voices him.
Of Commander
Is it
Bridger
Clancy
and
Brown?
leaders.
And the mural, that's where the mural is. Right in the middle of the city centre. I was kind of hoping Ryder would have his helmet.
Thank you, Governor Azadi, for that.
It is Ryder Azadi.
Here, I have my orders. I'm gonna need you to pull over.
She's being tailed by the cops. I love the music here. God, it's crazy seeing that in live action. That's her helmet. Doesn't look like it's been used in a while. Gotta say, I think they've cast these characters extremely well. Her lightsaber looks a little bit like Kanan's, which wasn't destroyed when he died. He lost it on Lothal.
The Night Sisters of Dathomir.
She's a Night Sister. Gotta say, she doesn't look like a Night Sister,
You're a witch.
but it would make sense.
Send this one to the planet Lothal.
I was gonna say, she does not seem at ease with this situation for some reason. I don't think that Shin trusts her. It's interesting, she's almost got like the Padawan braid. I wonder if that's a tradition that he's kept up. It's a nice little nod there to the helmets that Ezra collected. There's some Scout Trooper helmets. We all know that they loved to disguise themselves. There it is. Just like in the animated version.
And still 75% original parts.
That's not bad considering the fact that he's like 25,000 years old. I like how everyone's just like, we know things aren't great between you two, but you gotta work together.
I think I know how to find Ezra.
Cut to the chase, I like it.
This is getting more exciting by the minute.
That's so cool. Look at the way that table just comes out of the floor. It's a great space saver, you know?
Tell me what you see.
Not always.
Feel a bit of tension.
Why should I? You never made things easy for me.
There is nothing easy about being a Jedi.
No. I thought you'd have learned that when you trained with Kanan and Ezra. They didn't go easy on you.
Somewhere I can think more clearly.
This is a test of trust.
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
So Ahsoka's not exactly the perfect master. But she's going to steal that. She's definitely going to steal it.
This one,
He does.
in the last 5
I love those hilts.
I've only known one student who built a saber such as this.
Yep.
He disappeared at the end of the Clone Wars.
I like how he's basically the Ollivander of Star Wars.
Sabine, you're going to want to hear.
Yeah, she's gone. And she's taken the map with her. You think Ahsoka would know Sabine a bit better than that? Ooh, I like that transition shot. I was going to say, I assume that Ezra would have told... And surely Ahsoka would have told Sabine about the world between worlds.
She's still just as stubborn and bullish as ever.
Mandalorian.
It's kind of ironic coming from Ahsoka, considering how stubborn she used to be.
Thought I did. And the Jedi.
I like how Hu Yang just looks so sad.
I walked away from Sabine.
Oh, all you had to do was twist it? Didn't you try that already, Ahsoka? So she just needed to match it to the temple floor. Is that the unknown regions? She's gonna get jumped.
Think I'm going on a trip?
Yep. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, what a dick. That was a dick move. Grab the helmets and the saber. Yes! It'll be interesting to see how well she is trained. Ooh, okay, here we go. Nice little twirl. Why do I get the feeling that Shin is just testing her? Nice. Oh. All the while, that droid has probably taken the map back to the ship. Okay. Oh, God. Yeah, she's not ready. She is not ready. Droid, you should be... You should have gone to the ship. Oh! I didn't expect that. Okay. I mean, she's not going to die. Clearly. Damn. She got Qui-Gon'd. Okay, so... Very good opening episode. Thinking about that from the perspective of both someone who has seen Rebels and so knows a lot of the background information, and also from the perspective of someone who might not have seen it, I think they did a very good job of not overloading people with information to try and catch them up on, you know, who these characters are. They were very kind of subtle with a lot of things, and I like the build-up all the way through the episode, you know, just leading to that end point. It did exactly what it needed to do in every aspect. It introduced the reason that everyone is a player on the stage, without, again, being too convoluted, you know, without necessarily having to depend on just purely a mystery box. You know, the mystery box in this case would be the key to the map, but it's a very insignificant part of the story we're trying to tell. You know, straight away, they show us who the villains are. But what I really liked about that opening is that even though we know that Shin and Balon are the bad guys, they still showed that they're not full out evil. You know, they're playing into this kind of dark Jedi kind of thing, and I say that because there's not an appropriate term, because again, they're not Sith, they're not Jedi, they're clearly, you know, leaning towards the dark side. But what I liked is the fact that they went aboard the Rebel ship, and in the first instance they tried to do things without any bloodshed. You know, they tried the ruse of we're Jedi, and I'm assuming that their plan was to say that they were going to take Morgan the rest of the way, or, you know, that they needed to, you know, transport her elsewhere, and hope that the New Republic would be blind enough to just believe them, and then they could leave, no bloodshed, no problems, gone. And they only resorted to violence when, you know, the captain called their bluff, as he said, which was clever of him, though it ultimately led to his demise. And so, you know, that very kind of subtle storytelling shows you right there that they're not just these flat out cartoonish villains that will, you know, are just doing things just for the sake of being evil. And although at the moment they're trying to portray them as mercenaries, you know, I do think that there is a vested interest, certainly for Balon, to find Thrawn. You know, we've seen a couple of voice clips in the trailer where he talks about finding Thrawn. And, you know, it would be interesting to learn their full motives. But, you know, I would like some more background as well on Shin, because clearly she's not old enough to have been a part of the Order. So how did she come to be Balon's apprentice? You know, I like it when you can delve into the background of the villains a little bit. Because, you know, I think the more that you're able to explain a character, the more that it means when they're on screen and when you defeat them or when you go up against them. I like the way that they played off the Sabine and Ahsoka sort of relationship as well. Clearly, if you've not seen Rebels, you might not know the full history of Ahsoka and the Ghost crew. But they make it very clear here that, Sabine and Ahsoka had a very complicated history. And, Ahsoka herself turns out to be not the perfect master, which is fair. She wasn't the perfect apprentice either. She was very stubborn. She was questioned everything. And, Sabine stealing the map was something that Ahsoka might have done once upon a time. And, I think to see the fact that she has grown a lot, but also not become the ideal kind of Jedi Master, again, I think that that's pretty clever, because I think it will again add to that layer of Ahsoka's character where she'll sympathize more with Anakin and how difficult it is to be a master and have an apprentice. The action scene at the end there, the lightsaber fight, there was some very interesting moves. And Sabine getting stabbed through the stomach is something I didn't see happening. Clearly she's going to survive. Clearly that's going to be storyline fuel, as you might say, to firstly give Sabine a reason to join with Ahsoka, revenge, plain and clear. But also, I think it gives us a shining light onto how that, Sabine is just not ready. She needs more training, and as competent a fighter as she is, she's still not a match for a Force user, And I think that's, certainly the benefit of seeing the episode in Rebels where she trains with Kanan and Ezra. That was kind of the thing that was hammered home, is that, she can't take for granted, the skills that she has, and that fight with someone more powerful than her is not going to go her way. And so that was a great episode for her and her character development, and I feel like we're going to get something similar here. A lot of other things that we learned, Morgan is a Night Sister. Obviously doesn't look like a traditional Night Sister, but you can definitely link the pale skin, maybe some of the markings. It's a good way to kind of tie in how she might know about, the mystical side of the Force and why she might have aligned herself with Thrawn. And I think everything is kind of pointing towards them, at least, maybe if they don't go into it, but maybe sort of interacting with the world between worlds, which is, again, something that showed up in Rebels. And I think they'll probably need to explain that a little bit just for the benefit of people who mightn't have seen Rebels. But, this episode was very well structured, very well paced. I loved all the little tidbits in there, the little hints and nods. The helmet that clearly hasn't been touched in a while. The sort of stormtrooper helmets in the background that Ezra would have collected over all those years. Seeing Ryder Azadi, who is nothing more than a side character in Rebels, but he's an important character because he's the representative of the citizens of Lothal, and so to see him again brought into this is pretty cool, especially played by I think it's Clancy Brown, who voiced the character originally. That's pretty cool. And I love just having Hu Yang there. Hu Yang there is the exposition, bot. He's there to explain things. He's there to be the knowledge keeper. But I like the way that they do it because, Hu Yang is a wealth of knowledge. He is a master with lightsaber construction. And so very much like Ollivander in the Harry Potter world, he's known everyone that's constructed a lightsaber. So it's a good way for him to be able to identify the villains, and for him to give exposition, through the characters to the audience. And it's David Tennant, and I love that kind of practical design. He looks rickety. He looks like he's 20-odd thousand years old because he is. So a very impressive opening episode. I really enjoyed this. And, again, it did everything it needed to do to set up the plot, to establish the characters, to, give us a reason to tune into the next episode to see, if Sabine survives, which she will. She's in the trailer for the rest of the show. to see what the plan is for them to go about, you know, finding the map. Presumably they're going to go and chase down Morgan and the, you know, Merrock, who we only saw a brief glimpse of, but I love the cowl. You know, I very much like the cowl on Kylo Ren in episode 7. I was a bit disappointed when he got rid of that look, but I really like it on Merrock. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what his character's about in the next episode. So yeah, I'm going to go edit this video, then watch the next one. It's 3 a.m. and I'm not feeling tired just yet. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next reaction.